instant replays. We're going to make that today. Hey everybody, what's going on? My name is Shelly. Today we're going to learn how to make a instant replay for your YouTube or Twitch live streams. The best part about this one is your chat's going to be able to control it, so they can help you make all those sweet clips for all your gameplay that you got going on. So without further ado, let's jump straight in and get this thing made for you guys. All right, so there's going to be a few assumptions here that you already have OBS set up. So I got a blank OBS install already, ready to go. Blank slate, everything's the thing here. The only thing I've done with this one so far is just link it up to with my Twitch account, just so it's a little bit quicker for testing later on. So there's a few things obviously you're going to need. You're going to need your gameplay scene, and then you're going to need a replay scene. So like I said, I'm not going to go into all the nitty gritty on building all those scenes up with nested scenes and all that. I got plans in the future to do an OBS from scratch tutorial type series, so we'll jump into that when we get there. But for this one, we're just going to use this plain Jane setup here. So for this one here, like I said, we are going to need a some sort of gameplay. Obviously that's pretty important. So instead of a game capture, because I'm not going to run a game right now, I'm just going to get a media source here. And we'll pretend that this is our gameplay. And I'm just going to pull in a old video from one of my last streams here and get it playing in the background just so that it is good to go here. So let me just jump this forward. We got a bit of gameplay in the background there. Okay, so next step from here, there is a few prerequisites that you're going to need installed. Like obviously OBS is a big one, that's got to be there. But another big one that we're going to be using is Streamer.Bot. There's lots of YouTube videos out there for that, but this is what allows that chat interaction. So get that installed ahead of time. There'll be some links in the description below as to where you can get that Streamer.Bot, and I'll see if I can find a video as well explaining the install, or maybe I'll just make one. We'll see how that goes. The only other thing we're going to need, let me just minimize it to this one here. So this is the instant replay script. So this is what does all the magic in OBS. OBS doesn't have an instant replay per se built into it. It sort of does, but it sort of doesn't. This one's definitely a lot better. So we'll get that installed here. So I've already downloaded it. When you get it, all it comes with is just a few different things. So there's Streamlabs chatbot that it comes with, which is, if you got Streamlabs and you want to use that, then have at it, but that's not what we're dealing with today. The only thing we're going to need out of this entire GitHub repo is just this OBS Instant Replay Lua file. So it goes into the same directory that all your normal scripts would go into. The other option that you can do is in the scripts here. You can just add it in manually this way. So we'll just do it this way just for ease of use for today. Add that instant play Lua in there. So it has a few different options. We'll go over them, but for now we're just going to leave it as is. The only thing we're going to change is change this up to 30 seconds because a 20-second replay is kind of short. You might miss some of the some hot moments there. So the next step is getting your replay scene actually set up and ready to go. So we'll get the replay scene going here. So we'll add a new scene. We'll just simply call it replay. So on this scene, generally speaking, you're going to have two things. You're going to have the replay media source, the video itself, and then you have the option of adding an overlay to your replay, so it looks a little bit fancier. So we're going to add that in first. So we're going to call it replay overlay. Nice and simple wording. We don't need to do anything too wild here. Let me just find the thing I've got set up already. So like I said before, this is kind of going the broad strokes as to what's going on. I am going to include in my Discord the WebM file that I use here, and that's going to be linked in the description below as well. So it's just a pretty simple looping video, nothing fancy about it whatsoever. It's just a border, something to encapsulate your replay so that it's not just washing out into the background of your gameplay. It's important to note too, I am using the latest version of OBS version 28, and everything is working great in this version. So we'll put the overlay in like that. And then the other thing we need is a media source, again, for replay video. It doesn't really matter what you call these individual items, just so long as you've got them in there. So for now, what I like to do is before you get one going, because what happens is when you use the script is it takes the latest replay that you're saving from your replay buffer and then puts it into this replay video. But for the ability to line things up, I like to bring in an old replay, this is just the one that was playing when I did my intro there. So I would like to bring that in so I can line it up so I can get it to look as smooth as it can, I guess you could say. So once you've got that lined up and you like it, lock them down so you don't mess them up. Put them on, make sure they're both set to looping because you want that, and then you can hide them. So the only other thing in this scene that we're going to do is we're going to add in a show and hide transition. Now, you don't need to do this if you don't want to. If you just want those fast cuts that comes in right away and leaves right away, you can do that. That's up to you. For the purpose of this video, I'm just going to add a quick and dirty, simple fade here, just so that it's a little bit smoother of an entrance and exit. That way, when you bring the two different items into the forefront, they fade in, so it's a little bit cleaner looking. So back onto our gaming scene. I'm going to stop this from restarting every time. You won't have to do this, obviously, because you're going to have gameplay playing. But on the gaming scene, so this media source that we have here, I'm just going to rename it just so that it's ease of understanding. We're going to add a scene of the replay. Simple nested scene kind of stuff going on here. I like to have my replay up in the top left-hand corner. You can put it in the middle. You can put it over top of everything. The way that we've got that scene set up with the border, it's kind of nice in the top left-hand corner. You'll notice a lot of other YouTubers and Twitch streamers will use this. Lupo comes to mind. I think Tim uses them. A whole bunch of different people use them. So it's kind of a nice little bit of added production value, if you will. So that's all set up there. Only a couple more things to set up and then we're good to go. So the next thing we got to get ready to go is the script itself. So we'll go back into the scripts settings here. So we're going to enable the script. The replay scene is, let's see here, should be replay. And then the media source on it, I don't know why it's not uploading, updating here. We'll go back to this one here. All right, let me refresh this and see if it's, yeah, there we go. Replay, and then we want replay video. So if it doesn't show up there, just hit the refresh and then that'll key it backing up, back to working again. So replay scene, replay video, replay duration, 30 seconds is the one we have it. So it's the important part about this 30 seconds here is that it lines up with your OBS settings. So under your output, and advanced, we'll go there just because it's easier. Enabling your replay buffer. OBS defaults it to 20 seconds. I like to have it 30 seconds. You can have it 2 minutes. You can have it 10 minutes if you want to. Just keep in mind that your memory usage will affect the amount of space that you have for that. While we're in the settings, this is the last piece that is going to be needing to be set up, and that's a hotkey. So with that script enabled, it's going to add this OBS Instant Replay section. Generally speaking, you're going to want to use something that's super obscure, a key that you'll never use. So a lot of the ones that people use are the F13 through 24 keys. So I have a Logitech keyboard, so I'm able to set up a macro. Let me just show you what that looks like in the actual Logitech page here. So in the G Hub, under my keyboard, I set up a macro to F24. If you don't have that ability, you don't have to use F24. You could use Control-Alt-Shift F12 or something like that, where the likelihood of having all four of those keys in normal gameplay happening all at once is slim to none. That's the best thing I would suggest, is make it something that you're not going to use all the time. But for this video, we're going to use that F24. Another way you can get that is in the actual package that you downloaded. In the standalone folder, there's an instant replay setup.exe. What that exe actually does is inside OBS, it will bind it to F24. That's all it does. So it's pretty straightforward. You can use it for that if you want to, or if you have a keyboard that you can set up macros, you can do it that way too. I do the macro way because running extra programs for no reason. I don't particularly care for that. Not that it does anything other than binding that key, but I have the ability to bind the key with macros, and I would encourage you guys to do the same. So that's pretty much it. So we'll go back to the scene here. So we've got our gameplay should be playing. For whatever reason, I hit it, so it is not right now. So that one's visible, which is good. Gameplay is visible, so it's playing along, doing its thing. Make sure we're actually going. We've got the replay scene. Those two items are currently hidden, and that's the way it should be set up. So we're good to go. Everything is all set up. The only thing we need to do is make sure that the replay buffer is on and is working. So we'll turn the replay buffer on for this demo portion, and we'll give it a couple seconds to fill up that buffer, which gives us a good opportunity. Don't forget to like, subscribe, leave a comment below. This is one of my first YouTube videos, so I would love to hear any comments that you guys have, suggestions, what I did great, what I did a little bit not so great. If you have any key points that you can suggest for me to improve in the future, that would be great, much appreciated. So obviously this recording that it does with the replay buffer, it's going to bring in all your audio that you have through OBS like normal. When you actually pop the recording up and the replay up, a new audio track in the mixer will come up of that replay video, where you have the ability to change the volumes of that replay, which I suggest you tweak, because the last thing you want to do is have a replay blaring in everybody's ears when they can't hear you in the actual stuff that's going on at the time. I generally have it listed a little bit lower. That way it's not quite as loud. So we're good to go now. I think it's been at least 30 seconds anyways. So if I hit that hotkey once again, it comes up here. We got instant replay playing. So you can see I've got a little bit of tweaking that I need to do for the size of the video. And obviously I suggest doing this offline. So now that we've got that running, I can go back to the video here, and I can tweak the size a bit just so we've got it going in the absolute right spot, because the last thing we wanted to do once we're actually live is looking like a bag of hammers. So we got that cleaned up, so it's a lot cleaner looking, and that will continue to play until the 30 seconds is up, and then it's got a nice fade transition gone. That way it's all nice and clean. So last thing, we're doing pretty good here. We're getting through it pretty quick. The last thing we got to get set up is your chat integration. So if you've never looked or ever used Streamer.Bot before, I highly encourage you to look at it. It is a amazing utility. So it is a streaming bot or a streaming utility. It is used for anything that like StreamElements bot, Streamlabs bot, anything they can do, this thing can do, and you have a lot of finite control. Like, I'm only dipping my toes in it. This is what I use to get people to change the colors of my lights in the background there. All sorts of different things can be done with it. But the thing we're going to be most important is when you've got the Streamer.Bot open and you've got it running, the most important thing that you have set up is obviously that you've got it linked to your Twitch account or your YouTube account, one or the other, whichever one you're doing. I have it linked to both because I do stream on both YouTube and Twitch. So it depends on what you're streaming on at the time, obviously. There are exactly two things you need to get set up for this. So if you're streaming like me on both YouTube and Twitch, there's a one extra step, just so that you've got the commands there for both YouTube and Twitch, because there's a bit of a difference between the two. But the first things first, we'll get an action set up, and I've already got it set up, so I'm not going to go through making it again, but it's pretty straightforward. So in the action here, so add target info from input. So what that does is that draws in the user information of whoever's requesting it. It sends a Twitch message to the chat saying, hey, user, so in this case %user %, here it comes, which is just an indication that that replay request actually was accepted and worked. So it'll come through. It does a keyboard press of that F24 key, which I have set up as a hotkey, and then it executes a bit of code. So this bit of code that it executes for me is what I have set up to take a clip that it will draw through, and it'll submit it to it'll make a clip for Twitch, and then it submits it to my Discord. So the list, all the clips are listed on there in my Discord. So that bit of extra code on the end is not needed by any stretch. That's just a bit of extra added bonus type of thing, where it'll create a Twitch clip as well as a clip on the local replay buffer. So that's it. That's all for the Twitch one. The YouTube one is exactly that. It's a little bit one step simpler. Just draws the information from whoever's requesting it, sends a YouTube message, not a Twitch message, but a YouTube one saying, here comes the replay, and then hits that F24 key one more time. So the commands themselves, exclamation point replay, pretty straightforward. Nothing too fancy with that. The only big key with this is that I would highly, highly, highly suggest that you set a global cooldown of greater than double whatever your replay buffer is. So if you got your replay buffer set to 30 seconds like I do, I would encourage you to have it at the very least 60 seconds. That way your replay buffer has a chance to catch up and refill for the new content coming through, so you don't get duplicate clips coming out. I set mine to a random 111 seconds just to make it completely random, but pretty straightforward there. So replay, exclamation point replay command. I did group them because, again, I do stream on both Twitch and YouTube, so I'm trying to keep it nice and clean. The action, you click on that and then you choose whatever action you made. So I've got my Twitch action set up for this one. The source, so this is the important part. So it's coming from a Twitch message. If that's not checked off, like if I left it unchecked, then it will not work. So you have to make sure that's checked off. Cooldown, again, no action selected for the cooldown. So what that's for, you can have an action saying, hey, sorry, you're on cooldown for X number of seconds, you have to wait. That global cooldown once again. Permissions. So this is where you have the ability to say, hey, I only want my mods to do this, or I only want my VIPs, my subscribers, my whatever, or alternatively, I only want a very specific set of users to be allowed to do this. Your grant types allow all or deny all, and then you can change it down below there. I'm not going to go into too much detail on that. Like I said, this isn't a full-fledged Streamer.Bot tutorial by any standard. This is just to get you set up and running for this particular command. The YouTube one is exactly the same. The only difference is that YouTube message is set. And actually, you realize that I have the global cooldown set wrong. So I had it set to 40 seconds, which is obviously not going to work. So once those are set up, your streamer bot is up and running. Everything's working on that regard. Only thing left to do is test it. So in the we're going to use Twitch as an example, because when you're streaming on YouTube, unless you're actually live, you cannot test any Twitch like bot commands or anything like that. So once again, replay command is just quite simply replay Shelly.Bot. I got to set up a custom bot name. Here it comes. So it does that, and it plays the replay. In this case, it can't be made because I'm offline. So that's the secondary, that's that execute code. So if I was actually online, it would create a Twitch clip and then post the link into chat as well. Pretty straightforward. Yeah, so that's basically it. So thanks again for sticking around till the end of this video. Hopefully this helped you out, get a new feature for your stream. I'm going to be posting it into my Discord, obviously on Twitter and all that fun stuff as well. Like I said before, if you have any questions, comments, or if you have any ideas, tidbits that you think I could do better, please leave a comment down below. I do read them all, obviously. With just getting started, don't have a lot of people to have a lot of comments to sift through, so it's quite easy to read all of them. And once again, before you do go, make sure you do like this video, subscribe as well, and hit that thumbs up button, notification bell, all those things. All those things really help with the YouTube algorithms to hopefully get me off and running in this whole content creation thing. If you have any questions, let me know. I do stream live both here on YouTube and on Twitch at twitch.tv/Shilly with the 1 there, not the I. And all those links are going to be in the description. Thanks a ton for watching, and we'll see you next time, guys.